I think it's not a good game. She thinks it's a good game.
Yeah.
Is one of us right and one of us wrong? Is there a way to find out which of us is right, or are we just forever saying that's your opinion, man?
I mean, I know this is kind of implied, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you like a game and it works for you, you can call it a good game for you. You can call it a good game for you.
That's subjectively good.
I know, but you're allowed. What I'm saying is you're allowed to have your opinion. Is what I'm saying. Regardless of whether you can define a game as objectively good, you can always have your opinion. Is what I'm giving you a disclaimer.
So then it can't be objectively good. You just said if a game can be good to you. To you means that it's subjective. Yeah. Objective means a game is good, regardless of whether you agree.
I definitely feel like a game can be objective, but I also feel like you can enjoy a game that is a bad game.
Yes, you can enjoy a game that's a bad game. I've done so, I think.
Yeah,
you can also not enjoy a game that's a good game. So by
default, I might instinctively say, yeah, I think that's a good game. Whereas, objectively, it's not a good game. But I think it's a good game.
No, you should then you should say...
Well, what are you going to say to the average person who says that's a good game?
No, they would say, I like that game. There's a ton of people. If you ask anyone who plays Marvel, Ultimate Marvel 613, they're like, this game is terrible and I love it.
Yeah, that's what Julian always tells me.
Yeah, exactly. So like, this is a terrible game that's fun to play. That doesn't mean it's a good game. So when I say objectively good, I mean a good game. I don't mean fun to play.
Okay.
So do you think a game can be objectively good?
Yeah.
Okay. And while there are objectively good games probably that I think are not fun to play. All right, for me, that's due to my tastes, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, like I don't like first-person shooters. That's not fun to
play. But they can be made well. I don't like shooters that much. I don't like.
But not liking something doesn't make it a bad game.
Bing! Okay, so not liking something doesn't make it a bad game.
Yep. Very
correct. So, I think I don't like Monster Hunter 4, and I think it's a bad game. You like it, and you think it's a good game. So we can't use our likes.
What I was going to say about Monster Hunter specifically when we first started talking about it is that it's horrible at introducing people to it.
And I think that is a core thing about that.
And I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
Okay, so let's say
that is my biggest problem.
Let's say we're scoring Monster Hunter on a 100-point scale.
Okay.
And let's say games that receive
how much
80 or above is a good game.
Okay.
80 or above is a game. I think
my default was an 80.
80?
Yeah, because I was taking off the 20 points for how hard it is to get in.
And that's all the error you find in that game?
Well, yes. For me.
That's okay. So I agree. I think if a game is hard to get in, worth get into, that's worth about 20 points off. Because in my opinion,
that was definitely one of the things I was going to
say. Right. Game design philosophy 101, in my opinion, that I think is important is I should not have to work to enjoy a game.
Absolutely.
I should not have to work to enjoy a game. And if the game you make makes me work to enjoy the game, it's not a good game.
Yeah.
Because it can be designed in such a way that it's easier for me to get introduced to it. And you can gradually introduce. If there's like a ton of mechanics, it's fine. It's fine to have complicated games that you have to learn.
Yeah.
But I should have fun learning. If the game isn't fun to learn, it's not a good game.
Yeah.
Right?
We could talk about Pokken in that sense too, because there's mixed views on that right now.
The game's only hard. Pokken is kind of hard.
Yeah, but like people were kind of making fun of the IGN review because it was an 8 out of 10 and the only minus category was overwhelming mechanics. Which
it's not. I wouldn't say overwhelming, but I would say it's hard.
That's what they called it in the review. I read their whole review too, and they quantified it as overwhelming mechanics because the tutorial introduces you to quote too many things at once. So,
well, the thing is, in a fighting game, you're in a vacuum, and you need all those tools at the same time to really play the game.
Yeah.
In an RPG, you don't need all the skills in a very you don't. When you play an RPG, it's kind of like Monster Hunter 4 is an RPG, I guess.
Yeah.
So the skill tree, if it has 100 branches, that would overwhelm you. But you start with 2, or something like that.
Yeah.
Fighting games necessarily, you have to have you need to know how to throw fundamentally. And it's just 2 buttons, but I didn't
know how to throw when I first started playing Smash Brothers.
Well, if you wanted, that's why you were bad. You have to. That's why you have to be good. So.
But I also feel like you could jump into Pokken and just start mashing buttons and still have a good time.
You can have fun.
Yeah.
Which
is what I like about it.
Being competitive does not mandate fun. So those are separate issues. Okay. So let's talk about Monster Hunter 4 specifically. Okay. That's not the only... So you find no other flaw. So when you say that you would give a score of 80 out of 100, and you take 20 points off for
how horrible it is for people to get into it.
The introduction.
It's
really
terrible.
That means you would score it as a 100 everywhere else. Is there nowhere else you would remove points?
I'm trying to think about what other categories I would.
I would remove points from an artistic viewpoint because there's bland environments. I do not have fun exploring, and like they feel shallow. I don't think they're that pretty. They're very shallow. The colors are dull a lot of the times, and part of that is the 3DS capabilities a little bit. I'm not expecting HD from the thing.
How far did you get anyway? Because I'm wondering how many like territories you explored. Because you unlock a ton more.
I know.
And like certain monsters have like specific areas where they appear. Yeah. And that was so cool.
I don't know.
The Shigaru Magala. Anybody who gets that.
So I played with some other the people I went to Japan with, and we played for like 12 hours, 12, 13, 14. If I put 12 hours in the game and I'm not enjoying it, that's not a good game, right? And I enjoyed it a little, but I don't like how there's no real health bar, and you're supposed to like look at it to see it's breathing heavy and stuff. Yeah. But that's lack of clarity. So if lack of clarity is not a good like some people say, let's talk about Street Fighter. So Street Fighter, there's a stun gauge now, right? You can see how much like when you're gonna get stunned. There's a bar that fills up. Before you just kind of had to just know how much the stun. That's just worse. It's almost strictly worse from a game design perspective. If you're gonna be competitive at all.
Okay, but display a bar. We disagree on that because that's one of my favorite points about Monster Hunter is you have to learn the monster's habits. I think that's cool. You can even learn it's not only if it's breathing heavy. It's if its attacks are different. If its attacks like don't go off. If its attacks do different things.
But those qualities exist.
If it changes like how it appears, like some monsters actually change their appearance when they're enraged, which means that they're also getting lower on health because they're enraged when they're more desperate.
But learning
I think that's really cool.
Learning the game in a cool way should not be memorizing this fact and applying this fact. Learning a game in a cool way should be like, what is my opponent doing and how am I going to stop this pattern of attack, or what is this puzzle I'm trying to solve? There's no puzzle. There's just like information not given to you. You have to assume, is that like, you know, some creatures, like I don't know what a snake looks like when it's breathing heavy. Like you have to like, oh, he's doing this, he must be weak or something, and you don't know exactly how weak it is. You don't know exactly how strong it is. You don't know exactly how much damage stuff does without like looking at a wiki and whatever. You don't have the ability to get. It's fine. Like the stun gauge thing, a person would say, oh, if you don't know what the stun is, it adds to the anticipation because maybe it's going to happen and you're not sure. And when you have the information displayed, it's a little less dramatic, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have that as an argument. However, the drama and the engagement should come from the mechanic of playing the game itself, not artificially like denying you information, making it suspenseful. That's poor artistic direction and poor gameplay. In my opinion, that makes it a worse game because you can have that information and still have dramatic things and still have tension and still have this without denying me information. That would make it easier for me to make decisions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. See, it's funny because in almost every other game that I've tried that has things like that, that annoys the hell out of me. I don't know if you had this in middle school, but when I was in middle school, there was this game called, like, Mao or something, and you had to learn the rules as you played, and I hated
I hated that.
There was nowhere to start.
That's stupid.
It was terrible. It was awful. But Monster Hunter's the only exception I've ever made to that rule. It is the only time I've ever enjoyed it.
Why does Monster Hunter get a pass for that?
I have no idea.
Maybe you're wrong.
Well, you're not going to stop me from liking Monster Hunter.
No,
regardless of this conversation.
The point of
I will go home and feel sad about it, but then I will pick up Monster Hunter and be like, you know what, I don't care what this kid says, I'm going to want some more.
There are bad... Saying a game is bad doesn't mean you can't have fun playing it. That's not the same thing. And that's fine. That's of course. Then go play it some more. But...
Well, I would...
But it shouldn't win any awards. And, like, if you just say...
Has Monster Hunter ever won any awards? Like, I know that's not your point, but I don't
it would prove me wrong if it had, because I don't think it should win any awards. I think it's not.
I'm actually really curious.
Yeah, has Monster Hunter 4 won awards?
Or any Monster. I mean, the Monster Hunter series is like really.
Oh, Awares.
Awares.
Okay.
Award of what?
Capcom.
Excellence.
Award of excellence.
For what?
Being cool.
I mean,
from the Japan Game Awards.
The monsters are pretty cool looking, though.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter 4 has won for the platform Nintendo 3DS Family Systems has won the Award of Excellence, the Game of the Year. And Monster Hunter Cross, these are the other people that were nominated with it. It has not won any significant. Okay, if it has won an award or two, they were not significant awards. I don't think it should have. It should not win like best art, best character design, best direct, best soundtrack.
I'm kind of wondering because I mean they're really popular in Japan and like,
it's super popular.
Yeah, I know, and the series didn't even come to the U.S. until like Monster Hunter 2 or something like that. And I mean it's a relatively long-standing series, like all things considered. Okay. So I kind of wonder, like, you know, because I agree with you that it is objectively a bad game. Again, not going to stop me from liking it. I still have a great time.
I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's like the worst game ever, but I don't think it's that good of a game.
Sonic Boom. We could talk about
Sonic Boom is pretty bad, but like I don't think it's amazingly bad. Why would I say that? I don't think it's amazingly bad. I'm also sad that we will not be able to play together anymore. 'Tis a shame. I should really. I still have. Like, I should sell it to somebody. I'm not gonna.
I think you can get decent money off of it.
I mean, because people like bad games. Okay, so
hey, can we stop?
No, it's you can. They're either bad games that I like. You know. Yeah. So.
What's a bad game that you like? Then?
Oh, what's a bad game that I like?
I don't like bad games. I'm Josh. That's my impression of you.
No, I like. What do I like that's bad? Pokemon. Pokemon is terrible. Most from a gameplay perspective, Pokemon is just not.
It's boring.
It's pretty boring. It's really slow. The RPG Pokemon, I think competitive Pokemon is mildly interesting. I play like Pokemon Showdown and stuff. But the actual
I don't like competitive Pokemon, but that's
the thing is it's geared towards like 5 to 10-year-olds. I am now not 5 to 10.
Like, I understand when there are people who are just like, change the formula, and I'm just like, but they're probably not going to change the formula because it's making them money.
They shouldn't, because it's wildly successful.
Yeah.
But
it's fun to me for different reasons. Because it's a good game is not one of them.
I don't think it's...
I get really attached to my Pokemon, okay? Pokemon to me spoke to my soul. I play Pokemon because I like the idea of... This is the first time I
didn't buy Pokemon. This last one that came out is the first time I didn't buy it and beat it.
Wait, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire?
Yeah, it's the first time I didn't...
Yeah. That was pretty fun. They do have story mode continuation after the Elite Four, which was pretty interesting. It was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that.
I want to do the multi-regional thing. You know, where like
yes! I have been wanting that for years.
I really want that.
You know where they should do that. If virtual reality becomes more capable of things, that's where it should happen. Because then I can pretend to be petting a Bulbasaur, and I would be really excited about it.
Oh man.
I don't think you understand the levels of excitement I would have about petting a Pokemon.
I mean...
The first time I had a Bulbasaur in Pokemon Me, I literally just sat there squealing at it for about 5 minutes. Where I was like, look at his little face! Yeah, no, my roommates were laughing at me the whole time. Okay. You know exactly what I am. You invited me on here for a reason.
I did. Okay. So, okay. Interesting point. So, like, I don't think Pokemon... I kind of said that Pokemon was good and bad at the same time, right? And I was like, I don't think Pokemon's, like, objectively a very good game. But I think certain audiences are going to enjoy the game more, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, my mom is not gonna enjoy Pokemon. She just isn't.
I tried to get my dad to play Pokemon once, and he played it for about 5 minutes and put it down and never kept it back up.
Yeah, because it's not that good. It's just not...
Yeah, I tried to explain to him why I like it, and then eventually he was just like, you know, Rachel, if it makes you happy, I'm happy for you. But I'm not playing it. Yeah. But my dad also is interested in video games, but he doesn't like the possibility of falling off of ledges. Because he does it a lot. He does it a lot.
That's funny.
So eventually I'm going to put him on a game where he will not fall off a ledge. And I think he'll like it.
Okay, so...
But anyway.
It has a target audience, right? Mm-hmm. That it reaches. Yeah. I think when a game is objectively good, anyone can appreciate, or nearly anyone can appreciate and understand why it's well made, right? Mm-hmm. So, like Candyland is not a good game. You don't do anything. It's really like a movie that you watch, that you flip cards and you see how the cards.
It's fun when you're small, but it's not fun when you're older.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good game. It's just not. There's zero depth to it because there's no decisions, right? Yeah. But it exists. It exists as well. Actually, I would wager to say Candyland is not even a game. Candyland is
because you're just moving.
It's just like a storybook that you kind of follow along with, you know.
Yeah, which is appropriate for its target audience.
Yeah, which is, I agree.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anyway, so I said Pokemon is not that good, but so how? But the thing is, no game will be universally like appeal to everyone, which I think would be the perfect game, which doesn't exist. Just because.
What about Ready Player One? Did you ever read that book? Me and Julian are really hype about it. Yeah.
No.
It's turning into a movie, but the book is really, really good. And okay. The reason I bring this up, this is actually relevant, is because in this, it's like a futuristic world. Okay, it's in 2042, something like that, and the world is in terrible shape. But everybody has these really immersive VR rigs. Even like the super cheap ones can handle this for this game called The Oasis.
I have read this thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But The Oasis appeals to anyone but not only but it's different because The Oasis is not just a game. The Oasis, you can go shopping in The Oasis, you can chat in The Oasis, you can quest in The Oasis like in a regular RPG. And then the person who made it was a giant nerd, so there's references to anything and everything, and they make planets for stuff, so it's a huge, ever-expanding universe. People go to school in the Oasis. People have jobs in the Oasis. People live in the Oasis, and which is kind of weird because, the world is so terrible that, actually going outside and stuff is not common, because why would you do that when you could do that on the Oasis? So... This
seems really familiar. I feel like I feel like someone else told me about this.
Yeah, I actually super recommend it. It's really fun and it's got lots of 80s references. And it's really funny. It's very witty.
So why bring it up? Because
I bring it up because a game that appeals to everyone. I don't think such a game exists currently, but I feel like it could.
It could. Yeah. So that would be the best game would be a game that literally everyone can enjoy.
Yeah.
And
I want to try it.
I mean, I'd play it. But Pokemon...
I'd grind for a few hours.
Pokemon is good, because Pokemon is good for... And also, I think the best game, but also you would never stop playing it. Right? Yeah. I think that, no RPG could be the best game unless it has infinite replay, but you can play it over and over and over. If you can play a game for 100 hours, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think, the best game would have unlimited replayability. Right? Would you agree with that? So anything step down, any down from that would be harsh points. So I think that's
Monster Hunter kind of does that though, because literally they give you all the starting weapons at the beginning, so you could go back through pretty much every quest. You won't complete story mode again,
but to me, it doesn't.
But you can go
different.
back. Yeah,
it doesn't really feel that different.
Yeah.
Then with Pokemon,
but you can put hundreds of thousands of hours of gameplay into it if you want to. I think the record is 1,000 hours of Monster Hunter right now.
There's no way that's the record.
Or something.
Real quick, let's talk about... We've said, okay, a game can be objectively good. So what are some of the metrics that a game could be good at? Objectively.
Okay.
Because if it can contribute to how a game is objectively good, an individual thing that would help it must also be objectively measured.
Okay. So I'm just gonna list some things.
Okay.
Don't stop me yet.
Okay.
Gameplay, which includes how easy it is to get into the game. Graphics. Or visual aesthetic.
Aesthetic. There you go. That's a better word.
Aesthetics.
Visual aesthetics.
Yeah, visual aesthetics. Story. I think story definitely does something.
It can.
We'll
talk
about that. Let's see what else. I feel like there's one more.
We could do a video on how much does story matter.
That would definitely be a good one.
That'd be a good video. Let me write that down. All right. And whether or not, how important is the story? Alright. Continue. Anything else?
I think those were my big three. I feel like there was one more, but I can't remember it, so we can carry on.
Okay, so you said gameplay.
Yeah, I did.
And gameplay can be objectively good. That really means mechanics. It means what you do in the game. So I'm actually writing a book. It'll take many years, I bet. Probably not. It's about, because me and Esteban were talking one night really late about, because we were playing Smash Brothers and we were trying to get good, and we're like, are we really just playing rock, paper, scissors? And I was like, because that's the question I asked. I was like, is this really just rock, paper, scissors? And he was like, I don't know. And I thought about it, and I started developing a thing in what I call atomic games, which are fundamentally the same, right? Which are fundamentally the same. And there are some games that are fundamentally different. Like, for example, let's say, it's not, by the way, disclaimer, let's say Smash Bros. Is not rock, paper, scissors, but let's just say it's rock, paper, scissors. You can easily see how it's fundamentally different from a game where if the screen changes to green, we both have a buzzer and we have to hit the light as soon as we see it. That's straight physical reaction time.
Which I'm really bad at.
Which is totally separate. It's a separate atomic game. It's fundamentally different than rock, paper, scissors.
So we would call
because rock, paper, scissors.
So the objective.
The objective of the game is what defines the atomic game, which is what a game really is at its core.
Got
right? Okay. So an RPG really is at its core a series of decisions. Okay. That's all it is, right? Some of them you have to have reaction time, you have to have dexterity, but like pencil and paper RPG, obviously, is purely decisions, right? Some like those books that you would like read and it says, do you go down? If you go down the hallway, turn to page 70.
I liked those. I had a really trashy one about this girl in high school trying to be the most popular girl in school, but I always made her. Nah, she had several options. You could choose to go with like different crowds of people, and it was fun just to like read the different endings because the characters were actually kind of fun. It was really stupid. I had a good time.
The one I read.
Funnily enough, I originally read it for a book club, and then I tried to like be cool and include it in this book club, and then I totally wasn't. So.
Oh, that's sad.
Ironically, it did not work out for me. I like the choose your own adventure.
That's what they're called. I had one about a wizard in a tower, and like he or you were the apprentice to a wizard, and the wizard went missing, and you had to find him, but the tower was the wizard's tower, and he was all booby trapped. So like all the time, your decisions would be like. You see a mystical door, and it has this. And they would just like describe
basically like mini D&D.
Oh yeah, it was fun. That sounds fun. I'm getting away. So atomically different. So like, objectively measuring the mechanics. That's the first thing. So that's what this whole conversation is. Gameplay. So like, mechanics, the decisions you make, or what the game is testing, like either your reflexes or your strength. Like if arm wrestling is a game, right? And it's just measuring objectively my strength. It doesn't measure my reaction time. It doesn't factor any decisions I have to make. It's only. Bang, right? Okay.
What about puzzle solving?
Puzzle solving is an atomic game. Solving a puzzle like
in Legend of Zelda, where you have to solve puzzles to get through dungeons.
It is not. It's not a puzzly atomic. It has. So okay, just like how there are protons and neutrons and electrons, this is why I call it atomic. Though there's a small protons, neutrons, and electrons are smaller than you get. But if you have different configurations of those things, you can make different elements, but they're the same. So the Legend of Zelda, atomically, has the elements of a puzzle game, and reaction times. And adventure games. Right. Those are all fused.
I wasn't trying to say that it was only puzzles. I'm just saying that was part of it.
Okay, if you said it was part of it, then yes.
That is.
I felt like you implied that it was all puzzles.
My apologies. I totally meant to say that it was only a part.
Yes.
Like I felt like I said like it has puzzles. I didn't say it was puzzles.
Well, regardless.
Sorry.
Then you're correct. The Zelda has puzzles in it. Right. Okay. So they're very timing. So measuring how fun that game is what we're doing when we say this gameplay is good. So like, if we're really playing rock, paper, scissors, is this a fun way to play rock, paper, scissors? Are we really solving puzzles? Is this a fun way to solve puzzles? If we're playing a racing game, is this a fun way to race, to reach the finish line first? If we're playing fighting games, is this a fun way to bring your health bar to 0? Well, fighting games are... Anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You just kind of breezed through the atomic description of why you were talking.
The thing is, because I have to write a whole book about it.
I know, but you were talking really fast, so I got a little lost in there.
Gotcha. Talk slower. Okay. So...
you've been talking fine for most of it, but then you were just like, protons, neutrons. I got lost.
Man, I don't feel like I talk that fast, because, I can totally talk a lot faster, but when I talk faster, I can talk,
Stop! You are not an auctioneer. Bulbasaur says stop.
If I want to talk
faster, Bulbasaur used Ash, stop it.
So, this is me, slow, and when I am talking this fast, which is how people normally really talk, I feel like I'm making fun of you. I feel like I'm being rude to someone. Because it's like when you talk to a kid, would you like to go to the whatever?
Well, that's, I know you're making fun of me when you talk to me like that, because normally you don't talk to me like that. No, and then when you do, it's normally just like, Rachel, I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. So, and then me and Julian laugh to ourselves because...
Man, I ain't got to cut so much of this video. Alright. So, okay, anyway. So, that's how we measure gameplay objectively. So you can measure the soundtrack, and in my opinion, the way you measure how good the soundtrack is you say, does the soundtrack enhance the experience in a way? So if you're playing a horror game, does the soundtrack make me more scared or more suspenseful? If I'm playing a fighting game, but that's the point of you don't like the horror game concept.
No, I don't.
So, but that would make it a good soundtrack that would heighten the game, right? That's a good soundtrack. In a fighting game, it should get you excited. It should tie thematically into the fighters. It should either get you hype, or it should tie thematically into the fighters and make you feel like you're actually at the stage you're in, or something like that. If you're in the Legend, if you're playing Zelda games, it should make you feel adventurous. It should add to the feeling that the game is trying to do. Yeah. If it does that, then it's a good soundtrack.
Yeah, like when you go into new places and it's suddenly really quiet and you're just like, oh
yeah,
stuff is happening.
So can we agree that soundtrack, that's kind of an objective way to measure the soundtrack? Mostly objective, where you can say, does this soundtrack enhance the gameplay that is already there? Would we agree with that?
Yeah, it can enhance it. but I don't. Okay. If it's neutral, like if it doesn't really do anything, I don't think that takes away from gameplay.
I think it does. I don't think a soundtrack.
Like if it has bad music, like if it takes me out of it, where I'm just like, man, this music is weird. What is going on?
Well,
that makes it bad.
You can still.
But like if it's just like somebody, I was watching a review of Pokken today, okay, and it said the music is good but forgettable.
That means it's bad. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Let me take that back.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not true. It's not bad, but
it's like
not
would
good.
you listen to the soundtrack outside of the game?
That still hurts the game. Because if you're going to talk about the perfect game, I don't think
it hurts it dramatically. Can
you're
I
right.
add that?
Yeah, you can say that.
I don't think it ruins a game.
I think a mediocre soundtrack will not ruin a game.
Yeah.
But I think if you're talking about a perfect game, you have to have if it's perfect, it has an amazing soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I'm just saying that I don't think it completely destroys it.
Yeah, but so we can say that we can measure mechanics and how fun that atomic game is being played. Is it in an interesting way? Is it presented in a new way, interesting way? Soundtrack can be measured. Does it enhance the experience that the aesthetics of the game is trying to show? So visually, do the aesthetics also enhance the game, right? So just like Street Fighter, they could have gone kind of hyper realistic with Street Fighter, but they didn't. Was Street Fighter 5?
Oh.
I mean, they went
still more realistic.
It's more realistic, but they went almost like claymation. They have ink and effects and stuff.
Yeah.
So that aesthetic of the game.
That looks kind of cool.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
And
I feel like if you have a set style, and as long as you stick with it,
as long as you have a unique and consistent, maybe it doesn't have to be unique, but if you do a style well and you're consistent, and if I enjoy looking at you, then that's good. If a lot of people don't like to look at the game, it's not a good game.
Yeah.
Or you can have a good game without very good art, but then the art is worse. So that's how we can measure gameplay, soundtrack, art. And then there's other little things like the voice acting, if there is voice acting.
Yeah.
The story. So
story.
Some games,
I think don't have a story at all.
A perfect game.
Do you think
probably would have would a perfect game have to have a story? That's a good question.
Okay. I mean, we're talking. Okay.
You know, that's
because my first thought was to ask but would that game appeal to everybody?
But we said earlier.
I mean, we're talking about the ideal game that everybody can enjoy.
This is like Plato's. Do you know anything about Plato?
A little bit.
So
I did take a philosophy class. I just didn't major in it.
Okay, so Plato's.
I thought it was interesting. The teacher was just unfortunately very boring. He tried really hard, but it was I don't remember his name anymore.
No.
I mean, it was an 8 a.m. Everybody was half asleep. I was the only one contributing. Me and this guy who thought he was right about everything. And yeah. And that was it. I felt kind of bad for the teacher, honestly. He didn't really look like he wanted to talk about it, but nobody wanted to talk about it with him. So he was just like, I would rather drink my coffee in peace in my office.
That's funny.
So.
Well, okay, anyway. Plato believes in the form of the good, right? So he thinks that all things that we see is a reflection of now. Oh man, that's what I should do. Okay. We might do this episode again.
All right.
Talking about Plato. Anyway. So, or I could just edit all this and just jump to this back. So, okay. Plato has what he calls the form of the good, which, everything you see right now is merely a reflection upon its greater form. All information you get, everything you see, all your experiences are not true, because they have the form of the good, which is above here, and everything that is good is closer to that. All right. So if we're talking about how good,
it's almost vaguely religious.
It does, doesn't it? Anyway. So So if we're gonna say that as a way to objectively measure, is how close is it to the form? Right. So if we're talking about games, so say the perfect game. Let's say it doesn't exist. Okay. Plato thinks it does exist, but
light shines from the heavens.
Yeah. You don't have to recognize that the form exists to talk about it. You don't have to say it actually exists, but Plato thinks it's real. Aristotle doesn't. Aristotle thinks that it's not he's more of a scientist and he believes what goes down here. Even though he was
when you can see, touch, perceive.
Yeah. He's he says the real world is the real world, and Plato thinks the real world is in the forms, and this is just a reflection of the real world. Anyway, so when we're talking about objectively measuring things like a game, so we had say. How close does it, if it was a perfect game, how close does it get to that form, right?
Okay.
So, does the perfect game have story in it?
I would say yes.
I'm inclined to say yes, but I'm interested. I want to read comments on this. So I think I want to make this a unique video, like about the story thing. About dude, our games are a requirement. Our stories are a requirement for a perfect game.
That's the end of the episode. We were getting a little bit sidetracked, so I wanted to snip it right there. If you look at the next episode, we're going to be talking about whether or not a story would be a requirement in the perfect game. Like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Keep grinding that wisdom.